Charles Dickens greatly influenced the shaping of Christmas as we know it today. In his early work, Pickwick Papers, he wrote about a jolly gathering in which family and friends got together for a fine Christmas celebration. Then, in 1843, came the international classic, A Christmas Carol. The following year saw 4 more Christmas stories, each published at Christmas, now less well known but still important for their Dickensian message concerning the need for Christian values of generosity and for those less well off. The phrase Merry Christmas was popularised in A Christmas Carol. You will recall that in childhood, Dickens was deeply humiliated by his father being sent to Marshalsea debtors' prison in Southwark. He had to leave school, sell his books, and work in the dismal boot-blacking factory. He experienced poverty and despair firsthand. This devastated him and deeply impacted on his work, giving a lifelong fear of getting into debt and a loathing for injustice. Early in 1843, he visited the Cornish tin mines, horrified to see children working in appalling conditions. He was equally shocked when he saw terrible suffering on a visit to Field Lane Ragged School, one of several London schools educating the capital's half-starved, illiterate street children. In a fundraising speech in October the same year, in Manchester, Dickens urged both workers and employers to combat ignorance about education reform, and in the days following, he firmly decided to trumpet his despairing concerns about injustice and poverty by writing a heart-rending Christmas novella, which he conceived during those 3 days in Manchester, to be called A Christmas Carol. The central character, Ebenezer Scrooge, is initially portrayed as being cold, greedy, mean, miserly, and reclusive, then transforms into amiable, benevolent, compassionate, generous, reforming from dreadful to near saintly. His conversion follows after visitations by the ghost of the former business partner Jacob Marley, the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and yet to come. There are various Christian aspects in the novella, not least the word carol, meaning a song celebrating the birth of Jesus Christ, and he writes in staves, not chapters. The book was an immediate success. Within weeks of publication, numerous adaptations were being played in theatres, and it is said never to have been out of print. It is considered his best-known work, with at least 30 films starring some of the world's greatest actors, including even versions by Disney and the Muppets, as well as theatre, television, and radio worldwide. The great man was also a phenomenal success on stage. He perfected a one-man show in which he would perform his own work to packed audiences all around the UK and in America. Some of his favourite readings were from Carol, and it was reported that the audience would fall into a kind of trance as a universal feeling of joy seemed to invade the whole assembly. It was also reported that at one theatre, when Dickens described the apparent death of Tiny Tim, so many white handkerchiefs appeared to mop up tears that it seemed like a snowstorm had engulfed the theatre. His last reading of the little book took place in London at St James's Hall on March 15, 1870, and this was his very last public performance. Our sincere thanks to the Dickens Museum for hosting Londonist here in Doughty Street, once the great man's home. Do visit here to learn so much more about Charles Dickens and his work. From me, Charles Dickens London, and from Lindsay, Matt, James, Jeff, and everyone at Londonist, we wish you Christmas greetings and happiness for the coming new year. Merry Christmas.